Hey guys, welcome back to your Lake Fork Guides Network episode today. Got a special guest, Mr. Ben Milliken. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. We just had an amazing day on the water. Thanks to you. Put us on some great fish at a great lake.
Hey, you brought the hammer home and caught the big fish of the day, new PB of 8 pounds and 10 ounces.
Yeah, great fish.
Congrats to you. And we caught it on a bait that we're going to talk about today. As we get into the cold time of year on Lake Fork, it's a great time of year to pick up some hard baits that'll make these fish react when they don't really want to eat, but you can cause them to react by throwing some of these baits, and there's not much better than a 6 Sense Movement 80X, so that's what we're going to talk to you about today. Well, a Movement 80X, I know you've had some time with it. You work with Casey at 6 Sense. I do as well. And I'm in love with that bait. It's so unique and dynamic. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's the best shallow water power fishing crankbait on the market, bar none. It comes through cover better than any other bait. The deflection, it just has such a unique action to it that they just get so many bites.
Absolutely, the hardest wobbling. It's kind of like a chatterbait on steroids with 6 points instead of one. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's incredible, and it doesn't hang up on wood like chatterbaits do.
No, it rips right through the grass and ticks right over the top of that shallow grass too. That's really where I like to fish it. Yeah,
it's a phenomenal bait. There's no doubt. As far as the colors that I like, my main one that I throw the most of is probably this one right here, Shad Drone. I probably caught more fish on that than the others combined.
Yeah.
And I know you've got a shad type color that you caught a big
shad
one
type
on.
color. This is Bone Reactor. As you can see, I've caught a couple hundred fish on this single bait. That's a really, really great color. It's cool thing about this bait is you would think with that really wide action, the really loud knocking, it'd be great in muddy water, which it is. You catch a ton of good fish in muddy water, but it has such a unique action, such a unique sound to it that you almost want the fish to see it as well, so it works just as well in really clean water as well.
Yeah, there is no bad water condition to throw it in. It's just about having the right area to throw it in as far as how the structure and cover is set up. We'll get into that in just a minute, but one thing I wanted to throw in there, and I know you'll know this as well, being a 6 Sense guy. I've known Casey half my life. We knew each other in high school, and he does things the right way. He's always been a guy like that who was about doing things the right way. And there's not a bait that you can buy from 6 Sense that doesn't come out of the package in absolutely mint condition. It's going to have a phenomenal paint job. It's going to have hooks that you don't need to change out. Mm-hmm. It's going to run correctly, and it's going to be a durable bait, like you alluded to. How many fish you've caught on that?
Yeah.
I've got I just put this one on here not too long ago. It's already getting a little beat up, but I've got a glide bait up here that looks a lot like that. I mean, everything that they make is so top end and top quality. But as far as colors, so shads are our main deal for both of us. Here in East Texas, the South, we throw a lot of these crawfish patterns as well. I will start firing that around the colder and colder that it gets this year. And then, man, when you talk about crankbaits, chartreuse blackback has won a lot of money, cashed a lot of checks, and caught a lot of big bass.
Yep.
Well, what about you, man? Is there any other colors that you like to throw?
Well, being a Midwest guy, we actually don't have a lot of lakes with shad in them. We got some, but bluegill are our main forage, and so the live bluegill color, it's got a lot of orange in it, and it really mimics the bluegill really, really well. It stands out well in the muddier water, but still it's super natural. It gets bit in the clean water too. That's
funny you said. It actually brings up an interesting point. We throw these oranges, well, we call them red colored, and it has some red on the back there, but most of that is orange and gold. Mm-hmm. And the brim or bluegill that we have around here in the wintertime, if you find them, they will be a golden color on the side, and they will have a bright orange throat and belly.
Right.
And so we think that we're mimicking crawfish because it's a crawl pattern. But in my personal belief, from what I've seen and the brim that I've seen in the areas where we're catching bass in the winter, I think that mimics the brim as much as it does anything else.
Absolutely.
Just specific to our little neck of the woods here and what we've got going on here. So there's the colors for you. On rods, I've got a Limit 5 Series 7.2 medium heavy. This thing does have a little drag to it. It wobbles so hard, there's a little bit of drag. So I like a little bit bigger rod than I normally would on a shallow crankbait. But this 7.2 medium heavy does it for me, and I like to throw it on 17-pound fluorocarbon. What's your setup?
Yeah, that's almost identical to what I throw it on.
Thing?
This is a 7-foot medium heavy graphite cranking stick. I like the graphite because the fish really commit to this bait. It's not a bait like a trap sometimes where they're just kind of slapping at it and you really need that give in the rod. With this bait, it seems like they really get it deep. So you get the give of the crankbait, the moderate taper action, but I really like the graphite. Gives it you can just feel what your bait's doing the whole time, ticking over the top of whatever cover you're fishing it on, and really have the power to move those bigger fish. Like that big one today, he took off straight into the stumps, and it was really nice having a medium heavy power rod. And once again, 17-pound line, fluorocarbon straight every time, 6:3 to 1 gear ratio reel.
That's identical.
Yep.
Identical. So that's the setups. Areas are, as far as an area, grass that has a gap. If you can get a 2-foot gap between the top of the grass and the surface of the water, that's ideal. In stumps. Wood, this thing excels in coming through hard cover where it would. This thing just excels coming through, whether it's brushy, willow bushes, whether it's buckbrush, whether it's big hard stumps or laydowns. I've never seen a crankbait that deflects off it the way that this one does, and I get a lot of my bites off of wood when the crankbait hits the wood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, finding those isolated stumps mixed in with the grass is awesome. It's a great place to look for them. And a lot of crankbaits, square bill crankbaits, deflect off the rock and the wood really well, but this one it just seems to come through the grass. You can almost snap out of the grass like a trap a lot of times too. It's really unique in that way.
It is. And for me, I found that the cold time of year seems to be when this bait shines the most. I mean, we catch fish on it in spring, we catch fish on it in summer in the right situations, but starting now, we're here I think today's the last day of November. And it's kind of starting right now, going forward is when I really put that bait in my hands. It's always tied on, and it very seldomly do we have a day where it doesn't catch some key fish for us like it did today. So it's a great bait to start using right now, so that's why we wanted to talk to you about it today. And that kind of covers our gear and our area. There's not a lot to the retrieve. There's a couple little tricks you can do to get it out of the grass. There's a couple little tricks you can do to get it to bounce off the stumps the right way. So now we're going to get up and talk to you guys about how we retrieve these baits.
All right, so the basic retrieve on this guy is same thing with all the shallow crankbaits, but especially with this one because it's such a power fishing bait. Works so great around all sorts of different shallow cover. You want to make contact with whatever you're fishing it with. So looking at something like this, we got some isolated grass in through here, got this stump, brush, everything, and it works great in all these different types of cover. So what I generally do when I'm working through an area is I'll kind of throw it out past a stump like this one, give it a nice moderate fast retrieve, and just let it deflect and kind of pop it through if it gets stuck in any grass, whatever. But you want it to make as much possible contact as possible. Same thing with this bush edge right here. That's a good ambush spot for a fish to be sitting right in there or bogged up in the grass. And we were just talking about actually too, whenever it gets bogged up a little bit in that grass before it gets real bogged up, one great thing to do is just kind of pop your rod tip and then shoot your real quick, and one quick turn of the handle, it makes that bait jump. And that's something you can kind of mix in throughout the retrieve as well. I catch a ton of fish like that, almost fishing it like a jerk bait on the retrieve, just kind of popping it around. This bait will actually shoot and dart out to the side and kick out to the side, just like as when you're deflecting it off any type of hard cover. So it's something you can just really throw in any retrieve. It works great in so many different types of cover.
You ever take that bait and try to throw past the stump and then steer it into the side of it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I said, you want it to make as much contact as possible with whatever you're fishing. So
go out of your way to hit stuff. That's what it's designed to do. Yep. All right. Well, hey, that's a pretty simple. Well, let's talk about the hook set a little bit because I know that's a little different. This ain't no jig or Texas rig.
No, it's
so
not.
When you do get a bite, how do we handle it?
Honestly, like I said, the fish don't seem to slap at this bait a whole lot. It's usually 2 feet of slack in your line. You'll feel a tick, and it'll be a slack, and then all of a sudden they'll just kind of load up or be going sideways with it. So you can really lean into them pretty solidly, more so than with a regular crankbait. But at the same time, you're not gonna just reel up your slack and drive the hook home like a Texas rig or a jig or something. It's just gonna be, feel that tick, line's gonna go slack, you're gonna feel it tighten up, and the fish is just gonna load up, and you're just gonna want to lean into them and reel at the same time.
Got one right there though. Got a big one. Got a big one, boys. There you go. Oh, long and darky right there.
Dude, look at that freaking slog.
Movement down there.
Movement down his throat. You guys wondering about that bait right there.
810.
810. 10 ounces, boom, that's my PB. Hell yeah.
Right there. Giant, boy.
Freaking giant. Yes. 8 pounds, 10 ounces. Amazing, amazing fish. Oh my god, dude. So freaking fun. Take a shot. This is the bait. Joe got his 10. I got my 8 on it. Crankbait. Hell yeah, boy.
There you go, guys. That's a full breakdown on exactly how we go about catching some really big bass. Really big bass on that moving 80X. It will catch a bigger than average size fish. Like I said, phenomenal bait to throw this time of year. Ben, thank you for coming on and helping us with this, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you, man. Thanks for putting me on a good fish today.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, the video's gonna do the talking for itself. Caught my biggest bass of my life. Now take it easy on me. I'm a northern guy, so we don't got the Florida strains up there. So 810 is a real big bass for us, and I've caught so many big ones on this bait. It's a real special bait.
Absolutely. Well, good job. Thanks for helping. We hope you guys enjoyed that. We hope it helps you catch more big fish in the future. And hey, if you like this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, be sure and subscribe. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you did think about it. Let us know what you want to see in the videos coming up as far as techniques. Maybe there's an East Texas lake you want me to hit. Just let me know. And if it's within my power, I'll be sure and do it. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time right here on your Lake Fork Guys.